Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Guys Who Stare at Stats. Cade Kennedy here alongside Andrew Santangelo. And Andrew, it's football season. The NFL's here. Tonight, in fact, we have the Lions taking on the Chiefs. It's good to be back with the NFL.
It's great. Great. Football's back. Baseball's ending. All the sports are. This is like one of the. We talk about the March Madness. This is the second best time as football kicks back into gear. Like you said, we got Chiefs Lions opener here tonight. Interesting game, but a very intriguing game as well at the same time. So ready to dive into all this.
Yep, and so you might have noticed we haven't had an actual video in a while, folks. That's for good reason. We've been completely remodeling the studio here, switching things around, make sure everything's good, but folks, let's just get into it. As always, feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment down below. We always want to hear from you, but we have to talk about the first one, well, because it's in a couple of hours, Andrew. Detroit going to Kansas City. Chiefs 4.5-point favorite as Kansas City looks to enter that title defense mode again.
Yeah, that's probably right before the news came out, before we started. Travis Kelce will be out tonight, so I'm sure that will even drop a few points here before the game actually kicks off. But listen, Kansas City Chiefs defending Super Bowl champions, obviously. They look to defend the crown, and they're at home. Lions got a lot of hype around them this year, so Lions very intriguing team. Added a few pieces. You get Gibbs at running back. Jared Goff is back, so I mean it's an intriguing team. I think they have an opportunity to make some noise down the road in the season once they get going and moving. Maybe a wild card run, or possibly division title. But tonight, as far as that goes, I think Chiefs take care of business, open up the season with some fireworks, even without Kelce. I think the offense is just too strong. Obviously, they got a guy named Patrick Mahomes, who is probably one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the game today. So I fully expect him to go out there and do his business. And Chiefs, I'll say Chiefs 27-21.
And that's about where I'm at with the Lions. I think they will be a team that makes some noise. They'll be a contender definitely in the NFC North this year, but their time will come. It's not going to be week one, but I think we're going to see some signs of it for Detroit that, this is where they can be, what we've seen being built the last few years. But like you said, Andrew, tonight's about Kansas City again to show off a little bit more. We won the crown last year. We're going to show you we can do it again this year, same as it always is. And that moves us to our first of the Sunday games, and, not the best one to start with. Carolina and Atlanta battling it out. The Panthers and the Falcons showing some new looks here. Of course, Atlanta going with Desmond Ridder at quarterback. And for Carolina, the big storyline, the Bryce Young era officially beginning for the Panthers. Atlanta 3.5-point favorites in this one, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I get it's Atlanta, but I'm surprised it's honestly not a little bit more, to be honest. I just think Atlanta, while obviously they didn't go out and win the last few games, I thought they were much improved by season end last year. Desmond Ridder started figuring things out. He'll be back. Kyle Pitts has another year under him. I think this is going to be his takeoff year. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He was telling me, we were talking about Kyle Pitts. I don't know if you know this. He's been 2 years now in the NFL. He does not have a touchdown yet, receiving touchdown. I think that changes this year. I think he gets on the board in that sense. Drake London is a good guy coming in. Obviously, they bring in Robinson in the draft. So I'm surprised Falcons aren't a little higher here, but I think Atlanta gets the job done at home against a Carolina team that is clearly, obviously, rebuilding.
Yeah, I mean, rebuild's the name of the game for Carolina. We're going to see some flashes of Bryce Young here and there. I expect to see that at some point. There's a reason why Carolina picked him. There's a reason why he is the guy. He carried Alabama for a few years despite everything going on there, but it's going to be a battle for a little bit. Like you said, Atlanta has that tendency at times to play down to their competition even when they are down themselves. But at the end of the day, I think Atlanta gets the job done. And that brings us over to the Bengals and the Browns. Anytime you get this rivalry, always a fun sign. Glad to see we get it week one, but Cleveland, despite being at home, the underdog. Cincinnati 2-point favorites in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go along with that there. I like Cincinnati in this one as well. I think Deshaun Watson didn't fully prove to me that he's the same player he was in the past. I think he's still got a lot more to prove on the field here as we go into another season. I think Amari Cooper, another year older, I think that's going to be interesting. I love Nick Chubb. I think that's where this team really has to feed Chubb the ball. But overall, I think Cincinnati top to bottom. Defense is better. I mean, obviously, it's also going to come down to, I think Joe Burrow is questionable in this game. So it's going to come down to, obviously, if he plays. But I think overall, him going to T. Higgins, going to Jamar Chase. I mean, there's just too many weapons on this Cincinnati team, and they're going to go out there and get the job done here.
I agree with you. I think Cincinnati's just too talented a team. Even if Joe Burrow doesn't play, I still think Cincinnati gets the job done here. Cleveland's just – I don't think Deshaun Watson's the guy for him. I really just – what I saw from him last year, did not look that inspiring. Nick Chubb is the guy there. You got to run it through him, and when they do, Cleveland looks fine. When they don't, they still look like the same old Browns.
Man, now Chubb's got to get out of there.
He does. That will bring us over to Jacksonville and Indianapolis. Colts are home team, but once again, 5-point underdogs. Jags favored in this one. And, I mean, Jacksonville obviously had a little bit of fun in the playoffs last year anytime you have a big comeback like they did against the Chargers. We'll see if Jacksonville can just keep building on that momentum from last year.
I think Jacksonville does just that. I think they take care of business here. I am very intrigued to see Indianapolis play. I know a lot of people aren't high on him, but I do like Anthony Richardson. Obviously, I'm not expecting him to go out and throw 6 touchdowns in his first game, but I think, again, this is going to be a good learning game for him. Jacksonville obviously much improved last year, offensively and defensively under Doug Peterson. They got another year in his system. Trevor Lawrence is another year. I fully expect Jacksonville to take care of business in this game. But just in terms of Indianapolis, I think obviously they got the Jonathan Taylor drama there. They got to figure that out, and my guess is he'll probably be gone by season end. But I think this Indianapolis team does have spots where they'll be an interesting team to watch, and I think Richardson will grow, and I think he will be a pretty good quarterback by career end. But yeah, I'll take Jacksonville in this game.
I'm going to take Jacksonville as well. Anthony Richardson, he's one of those guys that you look at him to me, and I mean, all the potential in the world. It's just every time I watch a game, every time I sit down and would watch him, he just confused me. Because he'd make one amazing play, and you go, okay, that's what you expect to see. And then just the most ridiculous decisions you'd see in your life. Or just the talent is there. Can he put it together? That's all it's going to come down to. Obviously, game 1, I don't think we're going to see that there.
Yeah.
The next one, Tampa Bay going to Minnesota. Baker Mayfield makes his debut with the Buccaneers. And Minnesota, one of those teams that, I mean, they lost Dalvin Cook in the offseason. Some doubt going Minnesota's way. We'll have to see how that plays out. We got a long way to go till we get there. But 5.5 point favorite are the Vikings.
Listen, I think this is one of the better matchups of the week. I think this adds a lot of value to week 1 football here. I think, like you said, Minnesota losing Cook. How do they respond? I do really like Madison, though. I think he's going to fill the spot very well. I think Minnesota still wins this division. And in that sense, though, this is Baker's last chance. I mean, I understand, and we've said it before on previous shows, he's not really had pieces here and there. Well, guess what? He's got a solid offensive line now. He's got a guy named by Mike Evans. He's got a guy named Chris Godwin. I love Rasheed White as running back. I think he's pretty good as well. This is Baker's chance. Talk about one final opportunity. Here it is for him, and whether he's going to go out, I mean, he doesn't even have to put up Peyton Manning numbers. Just go out and be a game manager to an extent. Don't turn the ball over. You'll have an opportunity to go score touchdowns. I think this is going to be a fun game in that sense. I mean, you got Evans going against Justin Jefferson receiver-wise. Buccaneers running defense is pretty good, so you expect them to force Kirk Cousins to throw the ball a little bit in this game. Vikings have always had a solid defense, so you expect Baker to have to throw here. So I think this will be a fun matchup to watch. I'm going to take the Vikings to – I'm going to go Tampa to cover, Vikings to win the game. I'll say like a 30-27 game.
Yeah, I think this one will be a bit more high-scoring there, like you mentioned. The Buccaneers still have talent. They still got a lot of great receivers and playmakers there. Minnesota's going to be intriguing to watch with obviously not having Dalvin Cook, but like you said, Mads, it's going to be fun to watch as well for him. But Minnesota, it wouldn't surprise me if they showed a little bit of signs of struggling at times here just being week 1, but I think at the end of the day they hold on and get the job done in a win there. That moves us to the next one. Tennessee going to New Orleans in the Superdome. Saints are 3-point favorites in this one.
This is the first one I think I'm going against the favorite. I'm going to go Tennessee in this game. I get it. Saints are home and everything. And what makes this a fun matchup is you get Carr coming in. He'll get his first start with the Saints. You got Hopkins, all of his drama of the offseason. He's now finding a new home in Tennessee. I think Hopkins is out to prove something. I still love Derrick Henry there in the backfield. Tannehill, as long as he can just not turn the ball over, I think this Tennessee Titans team is a little better than the Saints overall. Obviously, they're still missing Alvin Kamara first 4 games. I think Michael Thomas is back. I mean, I know he's been up and down injury-wise, but I think he should be back for week 1. So they'll at least get that receiver back. It'll be intriguing to see how they do the Taysom Hill stuff again. So I'm going to say too many questions over there on the Saints side. Titans got a little bit more here. I'm going to go Tennessee here on the road.
Well, I will continue to agree with you, Andrew.
I was thinking this might be our first different one.
See, I thought so too. I was like, okay, we've both been going along here with the line, but then you're like, I'm going to go against it. It's like, well, dang, there we go. We're still agreement here. But I think Tennessee has, like you mentioned, they have those question marks, but they have some answers to them. New Orleans really doesn't. You have Derek Carr, but what else do you really have right now with him? I think Tennessee gets the job done there. And that moves us to the Niners taking on the Steelers and the San Francisco 49ers. 2.5-point favorites on the road going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there's a guy named Mike Tomlin in this game that he just finds ways to stay above 500. And you know what? I'm going against it again here. I'm going to say Pittsburgh takes the win here at home. I think Kenny Pickett's got another year here. They picked up some pieces. Najee Harris is coming into another season under his belt. I think he's got something to prove. And listen, 49ers, while they're obviously a good team, have a fantastic defense, they're already battling the injury bug. I mean, we don't know what they're getting. They had the Trey Lance drama. He's obviously traded. Who knows what's going to happen in this 49ers team? While they do have some weapons, I think Pittsburgh is going to find a way to get the job done at home and take advantage of some of those holes from those 49ers injuries.
Yeah, so George Kittle listed as questionable for this game. We'll have to see if he ends up playing or not. But the Niners, I mean, how many times have we said it on this show, Andrew? The Niners are kind of that just almost boulder, so to speak, where no matter what happens, they just find a way to get through it until they're, beaten up to the point that they can't do anything. This is one of those games that on paper you would think, okay, San Francisco's still trying to get everything back together. Pittsburgh's more healthy. We know how Mike Tomlin is. These are the types of games that San Francisco just absolutely wins, and it just confuses you. Where everything looks like it should be against them, but it just doesn't happen. I like the Niners. I feel like I have to do it for my buddy Josh, who's not here anymore, who would always tell me Niners are going to the Super Bowl, whether they be 0-16 or 16-0 in the old setup there. But I'll pick San Francisco to win this one on the road.
All right.
And that brings us to the Cardinals taking on the Commanders and Washington, 7-point favorites at home.
I think that shows you how bad Arizona's supposed to be.
It does.
Obviously, Kyler Murray still fixing up an ACL injury, I believe it was. Obviously, he's going to be out again to start this year. I just think that's too much of a hole for Arizona, especially on the road. I do like James Conner in the backfield, but I just don't think he's going to be enough to get past this Washington team. I like Sam Howell. I think he's going to go in the right direction. Washington's got a pretty good defense, and they got some weapons offensively. Got a good duo in the backfield, Gibson and Robson, and so I think that's going to be enough. And that's a high point value there for Washington, 7 points. But I think that Washington wins this game, man.
Caught me right as I was trying to get a drink there, but I agree. They're in rebuilding mode at this point, especially with Kyler injured. I mean, you can throw McCoy out there. You could throw whoever you want at quarterback if they want to go with anybody they have there. They can go with it. I think Arizona at this point, you're just trying to get Caleb Williams. I think that's where they're at. The race for him is on, and Washington's going to get a win here. And next game we've got Texans playing the Ravens. Baltimore 9.5-point favorites in the new debut at C.J. Stroud time in Houston. We'll see how he works, but the Ravens, I mean, they're going to have some fun. They have OBJ there with them. You have Lamar. You have just about every weapon you could want right now if you're Baltimore. It's going to be fun to see how they play this season.
Yeah, I expect this to be probably the most lopsided one out of the Week 1 games. Houston, full rebuild mode. They bring in D'Amico Ryans, former linebacker in the NFL, longtime Texan too, so kind of bringing back a guy in there. Hopefully he can kind of start speeding up the process a little bit. But Ravens just got way too much. Lamar Jackson, as you mentioned, they bring in Odell. I love Zay Flowers coming out of Boston College, adding that weapon to this offense. They got a great running back. I want to say trio. I'm blanking on some of the backs, but I know they got a few of them. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. I'm blanking on one more. But I think, again, that's going to be too much. Mark Andrews, very good tight end, one of the best in the league. So there's just too much on this Ravens team. They'll be fighting for a division title again, and I think they win this game by double digits. Again, I think it's the most lopsided one out of Week 1 games.
That's kind of what I was expecting. This is more than likely going to be the blowout of the week if we get one, I would think. Yeah. Unless we get something completely crazy that happens.
The best thing the Texans got going for them is Week 1. Sometimes you have a surprise Week 1 just because teams are still shaking out rust and stuff.
Yeah. Every once in a while you get one of those, but I don't think it happens here. Next game up, the Packers taking on the Bears, and it's weird to see it, Andrew, but Chicago, a 1-point favorite in this game. I mean, there's a main reason why. The Packers, essentially everything they've gone through this offseason, no more Aaron Rodgers. It's Jordan Love's time to shine. And the Bears have a lot of confidence. They think, Justin Fields, he's going to take that next step, and Chicago's going to slowly get back to where they feel they should be.
Yeah, and they bring in a guy named DJ Moore from Carolina. He's going to be a good receiver, good weapon for Fields. Darnell Mooney's not a bad second receiver there. They lose David Montgomery in the offseason, but they're giving the keys to Herbert as the lead back, which he's not a bad running back. The problem is I can't pick Chicago until I see Justin Fields prove himself. And I get on the other sideline, I know where you're going with it. It's a guy named Jordan Love. But in the end, I think the Packers got a slightly better defense. I think Aaron Jones is a better running back. Christian Watson's not a bad wide receiver, so I think Packers still have stuff there. I think it's honestly going to be one of those close but ugly games, if that makes sense. And you're going to have a team finding a way to scrap it out at the end. It's really just a coin flip in this game. My coin flip goes to Green Bay. I'm going to go Green Bay finds a way to edge this game out.
Well, my coin flip goes to Chicago. I think they find a way to get this done. This is a game they've been trying to get at for years. Get Green Bay off their back. I think they can finally do it this time. Aaron Rodgers isn't there to haunt them anymore.
Oh, he's still there.
He's still there, but not in person at least. He'll always kind of have that mentality over them. Yeah, he's left his mark on them, but I think Chicago gets the job done here. Like you said, it'll be an ugly game. It'll be that type of game we're used to seeing in the NFC North. There's a reason that you get a lot of ground and pound up there. It used to be the black and blue division for a reason, but I think Chicago holds on for a win. And then the Raiders and the Broncos at Mile High. Denver, 3.5-point favorites in this one.
Yeah, this is a fun division matchup. I'm gonna go with you got a guy named Russell Wilson on the other sideline that I think I'm gonna say it now. I think he's gonna have a big bounce back year. I think Sean Payton, obviously, there's been a lot of talk between those two in the media and stuff, but I think behind the scenes it's getting better. I think they're gonna go out there, have something to prove. Russell Wilson and company, they still got weapons. Jerry Jeudy is out, I believe, in this game, if not doubtful. So it looks like Cortland Sutton's going to be the leading receiver. Javonte Williams, the back, solid running back here. Denver's always got a defense that keeps them in games. And the guy on the other team, you know this, Cade, I can never trust him and will still not trust him. Even I do love Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs. But the quarterback named Jimmy Garoppolo, I will not be able to trust. And I will go with the Denver Broncos in this game.
I would say with Jimmy Garoppolo, I was looking at it earlier. It's like the Raiders have basically built their own mini Niners at this point, basically, or mini Patriots, if you want to say it, with Hoyer as their backup. They almost have that system going on as well. I think the Raiders put up a good fight, but like you said, I can't in good faith pick them to win this game. This is a big statement game for Denver to show that Russell Wilson last year was a fluke. He can get back to playing his way. I think Denver wills themselves to a victory here in Week 1. And the next one, we got to talk about them. Your team, the Eagles, taking on the Patriots. 4-point favorites for Philly.
Interesting color there, gray for the meter there. I would expect it to be green, but anyway.
No, you don't get green.
You don't get our team color. Anyway, no, this will be a fun game. Tom Brady's doing his retirement stuff before the game, so obviously the fans and the team are going to be very bought in, very intrigued. Obviously, Bill Belichick is no coach to just look past. But I just think the Eagles' talent here is going to be too much. Everybody's pretty much healthy coming into the season. Don't have too many injury concerns going in. Obviously, games coming out of games can be different, but Jalen Hurts coming off another strong year. Obviously, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I just think the Eagles have too many weapons. The defense is very good in pass rushing. We saw last year with the 70-plus sacks, chasing that record. So I fully expect the Eagles to come out in this one and get it on the road.
That's where I'm at. I think Philadelphia rolls in this one. They're too talented. They've got too much put together at this point. They are a well-oiled machine right now, and like you said, they really have no injuries right now, no anything to worry about. Just get out there and play well.
Yeah, you can call it bias, but I honestly think the Eagles have one of the most talented rosters going into the season.
Yeah.
Obviously, things can change at the deadline. Things can change injury-wise. But going into the season, keeping health in mind, I think the Eagles have to be up there in the top 3 or so.
They absolutely do. They're extremely talented. They're going to be fun to watch this year. Speaking of two other teams that are always fun to watch, the Dolphins and the Chargers playing each other in Inglewood. Chargers 3-point favorites in this one.
I really wish this game wasn't at the same time as the Eagles because this would probably be obviously I'm going to say the Eagles, but like outside the Eagles, this would probably be the most fun game to watch on the card for Week 1. I think these two teams are going to go back and forth, just touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. I think Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Mike Williams, Keenan. I mean, we got receivers for days in this game. With Hurts, Miami, their running back, Jeff. I think it's Jeff Wilson. His last name's Wilson. I think it's Jeff. He's out for this game. He's on the IR, starting the year on the IR. So that'll be obviously a little bit of a hurt there. But I think it's Rasheem Mossert. Is he at the backup? I think. He's been around the league for a while. He started before, so I think he'll be able to fill the void a little bit there. But I'm going to take Miami on the road. I think Tua, obviously, have a lot of talk with the concussions and stuff. I think he comes out firing with a big game. I think Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle do their thing, and I think they find a way to escape a shootout on the road here, and got to get a big win.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a shootout. I mean, you look at the over-under, most of them have been 30s, 40s, somewhere in there. This one's at 51. So everyone kind of
college over-under.
Everyone kind of expects this to be a little bit more up-tempo, high-scoring game, and I expect that as well. And I agree. I think Miami gets the job done here, just a little bit better on offense. And, I mean, the Chargers, we have the rule about them. You can't trust them in a big game. That's just how they are.
Yep, that's for sure.
And then the Rams and the Seahawks battling it out. Seattle, a 5-point favorite at home here.
Yeah, I talked about Russell Wilson making a comeback story. Matt Stafford's going to be trying to do the same thing, and it starts here in Seattle. I think it's going to be a good, close game. I think Seattle's going to barely take this one, especially with Cooper Kupp being out. I think that's going to be a big blow to that Rams offense and limit who Stafford has. Cam Akers has to have a big game if they want to win. But I think overall Kupp's going to be a big loss here, and I think Seattle takes it.
And that's where I'm at. I think we're going to see the Rams show a lot more fight. Stafford being back obviously is going to help, but not having Cooper Kupp is going to hurt the Rams. Seattle, they're going to hold on. I don't know if it'll be a 5-point win or higher for them. I think it might be a 3-point game here, but should be a fun one that Seattle holds on and wins. And then Cowboys and the Giants, Sunday Night Football. Got to have Dallas on Sunday Night Football, the first one. You know, got to get America's team in there. But Dallas, 3.5-point favorites in this game. The Giants obviously coming off a big season last year, and anytime you get an NFC East battle, it's always going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think the Giants actually take this game at home. I think, like you said, fun Sunday night, division rivalry. I think the Giants are coming off a big season last year. I think they're going to ride a little bit of that momentum to start this season. I think they'll find a way to get it done. I think the trade for Darren Waller is exciting for them. It gives them another weapon. I think he's going to do big things in this game. Barkley, obviously a big running back. Cowboys lose Zeke, give the keys to Tony Pollard, but I think Giants win a close game.
The Giants, I mean, they're one of those teams that last year, I think, I'm trying to think how many times I doubted the Giants last year and they proved me wrong. It was a couple of times to say the least, but they're one of those teams. I think they finally turned the new leaf. I think this is what we're going to see going forward. I'm not going to doubt them. I'm going to pick the Giants to win this one. I think at home, week 1, like you said, Andrew, they're going to ride that momentum. They're going to come in, they're going to get the job done and get a big win. And that brings us to the Monday night game, the Bills and the Jets, the Aaron Rodgers debut, I think what everyone's wanted to see. But Buffalo's still 2.5-point favorites here.
Yeah, this is a fun matchup too. I'm gonna lean Jets. I'm gonna go with the upset here, and I think it's gonna be one of those games. You come in big time, you get that trade you wanted. You're starting to try to take over a new franchise in the Jets, a team that's obviously struggled in the past, that showed strides toward the end of the season last year without Rodgers, and now you add one of the best quarterbacks in the league still. You already have a very good defense. I'm going to go with the Aaron Rodgers and the Jets here, and I also think, you see the Bills, you think of Josh Allen, then you think of Aaron Rodgers, you probably think a little bit of high scoring. I'm actually going to go, I think they win a little bit more of a defensive battle type game, and give me the Jets there at home.
See, I think this will kind of be a defensive game, too. I think the Jets get off to a great start. I think they kind of have that first quarter where everyone goes, oh, okay, this is the new look Jets. This is what we're going to see from them. But slowly over the course of the game, Buffalo starts to make their way back, holds on, and Buffalo gets a just great defensive win, a few key stands in there, and the Bills give Aaron Rodgers a welcome to the AFC.
Oh, I bet you this hasn't happened too many times. I bet you it has in the past. How about New York getting both home games in the same week?
I know.
Usually you can't do that because you'll be playing on the same day. But not this week. You got Sunday night and Monday night. 2 primetime games there at the MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. I mean, it's just good to see the NFL back, obviously, now that we have the full schedule up here. We already both kind of talked about, the games we're looking forward to. That Miami Chargers game is going to be a blast. Bills-Jets is going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of great football going on. So, folks, as always, be sure to tune in and watch it. We'll be back on Monday to recap most of the games. Can't recap Bills-Jets if it hasn't been played yet. But, folks, until then, feel free to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Leave a comment down below. Do you agree with us, disagree with us, just want to yell at us? That's fine as well. But until next time, have a good one, everybody, and enjoy week 1 of the NFL.